Hi, I'm Kathy, and this is my project CleanPaws. It's a community-focused dog waste station that uses small moments of interaction to encourage responsible cleanup. This project started because I wanted to understand how design can shape everyday behavior in public spaces, especially when the issue is something everyone sees, but no one really talks about. To give some context, I'll start with the problem itself. Dog waste is a very real, very visible issue in New York City, especially in Brooklyn, where I live. It's one of those things we all notice on the sidewalk, but we sort of accept it as part of city life. But the numbers show it's more than an annoyance. Last year, Brooklyn residents filed close to 700 311 complaints about dog waste. In that same period, only 13 citations were issued. So the problem is everywhere, but actual enforcement is rare. In my own neighborhood, it's gotten so out of hand that I bought boots for my dog. And not for fashion, but because a simple walk has basically turned into an obstacle course of poop. And when the streets are dark, I actually avoid longer walks because I just don't want to risk stepping in anything. It's humorous in a very New York way, but it also speaks to the quality of life issue we've normalized. So I started digging into why it's gotten this bad. A few things showed up consistently in my research. First, neighborhoods with the highest complaint rates often have the fewest free bag dispensers or accessible waste bins. So people are expected to behave responsibly, but the infrastructure isn't always there to support that. Second, there's the pooper scooper law, which requires dog owners to pick up after their dogs and allows fines up to $250. But enforcement is tricky. An officer has to actually see someone leave waste behind. So even with thousands of complaints, very few violations are ever cited. When enforcement or resources fall short, the city and neighborhoods sometimes turn to awareness campaigns. For example, the New York City Department of Sanitation ran a citywide anti-littering campaign that indirectly called out dog perpetrators, and there have been isolated shame campaigns where neighbors posted photos or signs calling out repeat offenders. These campaigns get attention but don't seem to lead to lasting behavior and are controversial since they publicly call out individuals. And frustration in some neighborhoods is clear. Long Island City, for instance, has been called the dog shit capital of New York in online discussions, showing just how visible and irritating this problem has become for residents. Looking at all this, I started asking, what would it look like to create a solution that supports the behavior we want instead of relying on catching people doing the wrong thing? With that in mind, I began building and refining a station that combines function with encouragement. I scaled down the enclosure to make it realistic for sidewalk placement, and I replaced the force sensing resistor from my previous version with a load cell for more reliable detection. The updated prototype now shows an encouraging message when someone drops in a poop bag and updates a fullness meter under every bag count so people can see collective progress. It also plays a chime to acknowledge the action, and when the bin is full, it plays a brief celebratory music cue and cycles through screens showing the real impact, like total kilograms collected, number of dogs, and water protected. It's a simple idea. Give people immediate positive feedback. Make cleanup feel like they're contributing to something rather than just doing a chore. When I tested this version with people, a few themes stood out. Some things that were working, people genuinely enjoyed the small interaction. The message, the chime made it feel good to do the right thing. The collective count created a sense of community impact. People like seeing their actions add up through the fullness meter. And the contextualized data really resonated. It helped people understand the scale of the problem and how their individual action contributes to something larger. Some things that need improvement, the design could be more visually engaging. A larger screen or simple lighting could make the moment feel even more rewarding. It could also use a bit more personality, something fun or delightful that makes people smile. And I'd like to explore how this could eventually connect with existing volunteer programs. For example, community stewards from Hillside Dog Park or participants in the New York City Parks Adopt a Spot program who already help maintain shared spaces. There may be opportunities to collaborate on emptying the bin or integrating the collected waste into compost streams. These insights will guide the next round of refinement. And here's how the full experience is meant to work. When someone drops a poop bag into the bin, the screen lights up with a friendly message and plays a chime, just enough to acknowledge that action without feeling over the top. The fullness meter under every bag counts updates right away, giving people immediate feedback that their action made a difference. The message rotates so the interaction stays fresh. And as more people contribute, the meter fills, and when the bin reaches capacity, the station responds with a brief celebratory music cue and cycles through impact screens. 20 kilograms collected, about 60 dogs worth, 96 million gallons of water protected, enough to supply 877 New York City households. The final screen reinforces community makes it happen. At the bottom of the station, the built-in bag dispenser ensures free bags are always available, removing a major barrier to cleanup. I'd like to add a small internal switch so each time someone takes the bag, it registers as another community action, giving a more complete picture of participation. In future iterations, I'd like to explore adding subtle lighting or a slightly more expressive celebratory moment to make the interaction feel even more positive, memorable, and community focused. So, in closing, CleanPaws is really about making the right thing easy, visible, and even a little enjoyable. It's a small interaction, but one that can add up and help shift how we care for our neighborhoods and shared spaces. And that's my project. Here's to making dog poop a little less of a nightmare and a little more of a win for the community. Thank you.